Good afternoon. I'm Rob Jamieson. I work for AMD. Hopefully you've heard of us. We are quite a big company. We make everything from big computers, graphic screens, things that appear in aeroplanes, go into big square, Piccadilly Circus, etc. That's all our graphics are in the background there. Everybody's heard of a PlayStation and an Xbox? That's basically an APU, and that's basically the same sort of thing that's in this laptop here. So people just know us as desktops and laptops. We make a lot of other things. What I want to talk about today is our Threadrippers and some of our APUs in Lenovo workstations. So we launched Threadripper at the end of 2019, and it was being very, very successful. We've also launched several iterations of Lenovo P14S, which is this laptop here, which is this small and light laptop, which has 8 cores in it and 16 threads. I'm sort of in the camp of you can't have too much power, basically. So actually having a small laptop that can do VR, that can you can stick into your bag and carry around and do everything is the way I like to be. So the P620, it's got a lot of processing power, 64 cores. It's got a lot of supported memory, and it's PCI Express Gen 4. Why is this important? Before, you'd have to buy some of Threadripper's things, you'd have to buy a non-OEM solution. Now Lenovo offers this as an OEM solution. You've got the backup and support. And this has made a big difference to the market, because this has changed the market in the fact that these are sold very, very well, because it does some things that other computers cannot do. So going down to some of the features that are relevant, 64 cores basically means that applications that are 64 core aware can actually process things really quickly. But it also means you can do things at the same time. I'm a classic person of having 10 apps open at the same time, 3 web browsers, and you want to work that way. You don't want to have to wait around for stuff. PCI Express Gen 4 is the actual bus that's in the bottom of the computer, and that means that can interface with graphics cards and also memory, like long-term storage. We don't want to wait for stuff. We want to have the fastest performance you can get. And that bandwidth is fantastic. And because of the change in the world that's happened recently, people want to have that performance at home. And you'll find a lot of people now have a really dedicated workstation. They go and work. They don't have to wait. They don't have to log online to find out if they want to do processing power or rendering stuff. They can do it themselves. These are some of the customers that have bought the Lenovo workstations. Epic Games, Aston Martin, I think they're both presenting here. That's just to give you an idea of how big companies are taking this solution. It's not just the individuals. This is just to show you how things have changed. So a lot of people, when they buy something, they want to know whether people have bought it as well. They want to know it's a good solution. So obviously these launched in the end of 2019. You can see how the growth has become, that both the global and EMEA, the highest selling workstation is the Lenovo P620. That is a big change. Normally this industry, the workstation industry, takes years to change overnight from one processor package to another processor. And this has changed in such a small time because it offers things that other solutions cannot. And one of the things that's very good at is rendering. Rendering being creating the final version of something. And obviously this is V-Ray and Chaos Group. These are 2 high-end competing things. These are dual socket Xeons. And this is a single processor in each of these, and you can see things a lot quicker. Who likes to wait? I don't like to wait. I want things now. And I think it makes you working at, you want to reiterate things, you want to try things again. We've all done that stuff where we've waited all day for something, you come and check it, and it's wrong. You don't want to do that. You want to see it again and change it immediately. And these are some of the quotes from Epic Games, basically saying that things compile a lot faster, and V-Ray, which is one of the great rendering engines, it's basically saying that he can't understand it from his left to right, side of his brain. The fact that he's so fast, he's got so much power, and the fact that then he can innovate, he can go and do the other renderings. So, it's all about us designing and creating. We don't want to wait around for something. We want to move to the next thing quickly as possible. Another good quote, basically a processor with this much memory and its affordable price means that they can go ahead and do stuff. I think the whole dynamic of spending £12,000, £13,000 on a workstation to do this has dropped to £6,000. It means it's more accessible to more people to have this ultimate power. But that's not resting my case just on the Threadripper side. We have these laptops, and the P14S is a laptop. I don't actually have one of these, subtle hint, I really need one of these laptops. The fact it's got 8 cores, and we're all mobile nowadays, we're all working from home, and have this much power and availability just on our own desktop is great. And this is what we call a thin and light laptop we'd have a few years ago. And this has 8 cores in it, 16 threads, and it has a fully fledged graphics card, so it can run VR. That's a big change. Have all that power and performance, and it's certified. In other words, they're tested by the software companies. It's tested by ourselves to make sure it's reliable. And again, you can see the change in the marketplace when it came out to where it's come today. That this has become a very, very popular laptop because it's good. You don't need to market this. It is actually good. People have used it. I can guarantee if you try one of these laptops, you won't want to go back. Just everything else is so much faster. And again, performance in Unreal and Epic Games to show you compared to Intel how long it takes to compile something and how long it takes to things are faster, how many samples it can produce. So the thing today is there's lots of stuff online. You can go on the cloud, you can do stuff. But my personal view is you want to combine all that data, all that different stuff locally on your own machine. By doing it that way, you've got access to it. And the biggest problem is when you have so much data on a local machine, you have so many different applications. There isn't one application that can do it all. You have to have multiple applications. And actually having that power to be able to combine cloud data, reality capture, different data points, and put it all in one place as well as design data is really, really important. And I think that is the dynamic change. Yes, it's great that you can go and access stuff, but how many people have we click on the link and you wait for that little circle going round and round and round, waiting for it to download or waiting for it to upload before you can render something? You don't want to do that. You want to have it now. So it's scalable solutions. So if you don't need 64 cores, there are other solutions in there. Obviously, you can have a 4-core version of this laptop as well as an 8-core. You can have 32-core. 32-core solution is excellent. It's still a lot of power. Most things that are there. 64-core is probably extreme for rendering and for doing some analysis type stuff. But it's there and it's affordable. These are some of the applications that have been optimized for 64-core. So Autodesk, Faro, Epic, Leica. An example of that is Arnold. So Arnold obviously supports 64 cores, but also in the time it's taken when they first launched Arnold, our teams worked with Autodesk to actually optimize the code. It actually improved the Intel performance as well. The Intel performance has gone up. So we're not just saying, it works on 64 cores. We're about making sure that what happens actually happens faster. In other words, we do the work inside to make sure we make the most of these actual processes. And you can see the performance time is dramatic. On our side. All of our cores, all of our processes are full cores, so they're full performance, so it makes a big difference. So in other words, everything works well and evenly. And also the Autodesk Art Render that comes with Revit, Exemplar, that's now supports 64. That just launched earlier on this year, and that supports 64 cores as well now. So we've done the work with Autodesk to make sure that's there. I said that wrong again. Every time they're going to tell me off, aren't they? Basically, Akka, I'll say Akka to make sure I get it right. Another architectural company, they've implemented lots of things like ProRender and other stuff. They love this. They basically, it's a disease. We gave them one Threadripper, and now they're replacing all their systems with Threadripper systems because they realise the benefit is combining software and working day to day. So it's the latest and greatest, has all the latest performance inside. It's configurations for what you need, and you've got an OEM supplier. i.e. you can go back and come back and sort it out. If anything goes wrong, you've got an OEM who can help you. I'm on the Lenovo stand if you want to come and have a chat to me. I can talk about more stuff than just straight, this is speeds and feeds, but I was sure we're limited on time, so hopefully I've met my 10-minute criteria. Is that all right? You're good. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
We do have just a minute here, so any questions for Rob before?
Any questions?
In terms of the people that are buying the P620, are you finding that it's mostly design viz specialists that really take their design visualization seriously, or are you finding that maybe some of the lower core count models, you might be finding some architects who are rendering in Revit and other applications are interested in those as well?
I think a lot of initially the initial sales were all design viz to start off with. People are taking the lower core counts because they're just as fast and they work day to day. There is less of them at the moment. What we're doing, we're seeing a massive increase in is not so much life sciences, but also on the analysis side. So we're supporting more of that software. So that as that gets in, there's a lot more people buying. And again, it's the classic. You send them a 12 core, you send them a 32 core, they end up going by the 32 core. It's a real disease. Once you have that power, you want that power. But yes, it is that the 12-core solutions are good, and they're good for designing. If you're creating 3D where you don't actually need lots and lots of threads, that is a perfect solution.
And I have a follow-up question.
Go on for it.
How closely are you working with the software developers to try and, because getting the most out of those 64 cores is not always the easiest thing to do for every software. How closely are you working with software developers to help them maximize the performance in the machine? We
have a team of people that actually go through. So what was quite funny is when we first had the Threadripper 1 stuff first come out, we were quite hard, ISVs, yeah, we'll have a look at it. Now, we get people ask us, can we have a look at your Threadripper 3? Can we work with you to make this work? And we have a development team that actually works, they work with Arnold, they work with lots of bits of software. They come from industry, so they're very, very clever. And what you find is there's lots of stuff that people don't know, a lot of developers don't know there's so much things they can do and optimize. There's so many different types of code bases that are in there. The big question now is to move, like what I call the kernels over. So that, the ASIS and the parasolids and stuff, move them over to the actual multi-threaded stuff. That's the next big challenge, because if you put that onto multi-threaded, that will make a big change to practically every CAD app out there. That is not an easy thing to do.
Could you scale that to 64 cores, though?
You could scale that.
Yeah.
Apparently there is some sort of core which actually is actually supporting 64 cores,
okay.
And that changes everything. But they want more. We need more people to come and work on that. That's a big change. That code base is 25 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to change it overnight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Good questions. Anything else? Cool. Thank you. Appreciate your time.